The officer had hung up, and the dial tone filled the silence of his empty apartment. The next few hours passed like a nightmare. James desperately called the police station in Mumbai, but Sub-Inspector Krishnan was unavailable. Another officer mechanically confirmed the details of the case. File number MB 2016-0847, victim Priya Mitchell, American citizen, cause of death burns in car accident, case closed. When James asked about an autopsy, he was told that it had not been possible due to the condition of the body and that the family had already arranged for cremation. "What family?" James shouted into the receiver. "I'm her husband. Why wasn't I contacted?" The official replied with bureaucratic coldness that the next of kin, an uncle named Rajesh Sharma, had taken care of all the necessary formalities. He had been listed as the emergency contact in her documents and had the power of attorney to act in James's absence. James realized with growing horror that Priya must have granted this power of attorney without his knowledge, probably before her departure. In the days that followed, James desperately tried to fly to Mumbai, but the bureaucratic hurdles seemed insurmountable. His visa application was delayed due to incomplete documentation. The American consulate informed him that the case had already been closed and no further investigation was necessary. According to his office, Rajesh Sharma was still away on business and unavailable. James felt trapped in a Kafkaesque nightmare in which every door he tried to open remained locked. Finally, after 2 weeks of intense effort, he received a call back from Rajesh. The voice on the other end sounded tired and dejected. Rajesh explained with melancholy resignation that Priya's death had affected him deeply. She had been like a daughter to him. He described the last few weeks. Priya's mother had indeed been seriously ill, and Priya had devotedly cared for her. After her mother's death, Priya had fallen into a deep depression. On that fateful evening, she had taken the car to drive alone and collect her thoughts, a habit she had had since her youth. The mountainous road was known for its dangerous curves, especially at night and in the rain. She wasn't the same after her mother's death, Rajesh said in a broken voice. She often talked about how guilty she felt for leaving her mother alone to go to America. "I shouldn't have let her drive alone." He went on to explain that the police had found no evidence of suicide, but also no evidence of foul play. It had been a tragic accident caused by a combination of emotional stress, bad weather conditions, and a dangerous road. James listened as his heart ached with pain. The description fit the Priya he knew. Emotional, impulsive, with a tendency to take blame for things beyond her control. But something about Rajesh's account didn't feel complete. Why hadn't she told him about her mother's death? Why had she cut off contact instead of seeking his support? These questions gnawed at him, but he pushed them aside, overwhelmed by grief and guilt. Rajesh said that Priya's ashes had already been scattered in the sacred Ganges River, according to her own wishes, which she had left in a letter. He offered to send James a copy of the letter, but as weeks passed, nothing arrived. James's repeated inquiries were met with excuses about lost mail and technical problems. The funeral took place in Austin without Priya's body, a surreal memorial service where James stood in front of a photo of his wife and said his goodbyes.